Hi everybody, I thought I'd give you an update. The physio came today and I mentioned something about community therapy, saying there's a waiting list. And I said, how long? And I went, we can't say. Obviously, Nan's not obviously been discharged yet. No plans at the moment. But she is getting on the mend slowly. Infection markers have come right down to help with the UTI and a lymphedema, the legs. So that's helped. The edema is the fluid that's coming out the leg, and the lymphedema is the swollen legs. That's good, I suppose. The OT I never got a chance to speak to. They'd left about 4 o'clock. I was waiting for over an hour and a half and I couldn't get hold of them, so I won't know any more about that. But when the physio was trying to help Nan, my Nan was going, oh, can we do it another day? I went, Nan, you've declined twice now. You need to let them help you off the bed. The physio, they've got to assess you. So luckily I was there at the right time. And they obviously was trying to get updates from the doctor. But from what I saw, that Nan was struggling to get off the bed. And obviously on and off the bed, but obviously I saw her get off the bed, sorry, not up the bed. She was getting off the bed. They says, come on now, we need you to stand up. She was struggling. And normally when she's at home, she can normally able to get in and out the bed, even if she's sitting on the bed or a chair, she's normally quite able to. So they said without assistance that my nan was still struggling to get on and off the bed, whether that's the chair, but she was on the bed at that moment. So that's where there's some concerns. They didn't get a chance to see her, get my nan to walk around. I said, we're just assessing her, getting up and down at the moment. They haven't assessed her, how she is with the Zimmer frame, whether she can walk. They asked me, I said, where's your nan's toilet? Is it far from the bedroom? And I explained, how far away it was, roughly. So I said, this referral that you're on about, I know there's no plans to discharge her anytime soon. She's on the mend. So this referral that they're on about that I mentioned is if they discharged my nan from hospital, and don't forget my nan has 4 care calls. 4 care calls is the maximum she's got. You can't have any more than that. So if the care will come up between 7:30 and 8:30, and then the next one's not between 12 and 12:30, and nan can't even mobilise without assistance, she's either going to wet the bed, putting it bluntly, or feces the bed. Because hours later, the carer's not going to come hours later till obviously the morning call from the time that I just mentioned till midday call. So how's she supposed to do that when her mobility's not right yet? So that's where I've got concerns. I said, I'm not saying I don't want my nan to come out of hospital anytime soon. Obviously, there's no plan of discharge at the moment, but that's where I've got concerns around that, which I've just explained. How's she going to manage when the carers are not there, and when she's got to wait for her next care call, how's she supposed to get in and out of the bed when she's struggling at the moment? Even sitting on the bed is a struggle. Even in and out the bed, which normally she's quite able to. So that's where I am with that stage at the moment. So OT I'll try and chase up tomorrow to obviously the 2 separate bodies, OT and physio, 2 separate things. I think they do 2 different things anyway, top of my head. So I'm going to chase that up again. And obviously the bed, my nan's old bed, that obviously I've got rid of the old bed now. Nan's had a new hospital bed. Now, when I spoke to the OT 3 days ago, they said, oh, the bed that your nan's got at home is an old hospital bed with the brown board backing. She said that would be an old, obviously, hospital bed. And I says, well, nan's old bed lever that was on her old bed, she could get in and out of it perfect. But obviously the new hospital bed, she couldn't even get in and out the bed at all. So I've had to sort of put the old bed lever under the new hospital bed. Which it's a struggle with that as well because it's not suited to that bed. So the OT was meant to come out 8 days ago or something on the top of my head. But obviously Nan was rushed to hospital, as people know. So obviously when my Nan was, before she was moved to another ward, she spoke to this person, says, you know, obviously I'm OT through the council or whatever department she's from. I said, well, I'm discharging, you know, Paul's Nan because obviously she's in hospital. So before she's discharged, you need to attach a bed lever to Nan's hospital bed at home because it's unsafe, because that bed lever was for her old bed. That's no more. So they've got to sort that out. The last conversation I had with the OT, that was a couple of days ago, she said, well, maybe Nan needs another bed. We're not too sure at the moment, or maybe a bed lever if we can attach it to this old hospital bed. It's not the up-to-date one. So if you understand me so far. And I said, how would you Nan would be with a bed rail? I said, well, she hasn't got mental capacity and complex issues. So that's not going to be really realistic. Because if she doesn't know, when she's been in hospital, she doesn't even know how to put the bed lever down. Sorry, the bed rail. She doesn't even know how to put the bed the bed rail down. She doesn't know how to put the bed rail down. So if that changed the bed for one of those, she's not going to be able to get out of the bed. And people with dementia can sometimes try to climb out, which then if that happens, she could have a fall and hurt herself. So it's got to be a bed lever, not a bed rail, if you get me so far. Sorry if I'm waffling, it's just trying to remember everything. So she said, I'll get back to you and we'll see what we can do. And I've heard nothing since. So I said, well, the lady OT from the council said before she's discharged, you need to get a bed lever, not the old one that Nan had for the old bed is not sufficient for the new hospital bed that she's got now. It's an old version. It's not the up-to-date one. The up-to-date one will be with the bed rail. But obviously, if they give her a hospital bed with a bed rail, she's not going to be able to obviously put it down. Then when the carers are not there, she's going to either wet herself and mess herself, you know, and she'll be stuck in the bed. Or she could end up trying to get out the bed, which some people with dementia do. They could try to climb out, which could be, you know, a danger. So I don't know what's going to happen I can't even speak. So I don't even know what's going to happen with that at the moment. But they did do a mental capacity, and Nan has not full mental capacity. She has capacity. The doctors have done it. She's got mental capacity. But before Nan's hospital admission, the social worker a month ago said that my Nan hasn't got mental capacity on complex issues and dangers and risks, and it's case specific. But they've done a mental capacity and she understands. I wasn't there, they've done it now. So that's where I am at the moment with that. So I will update you when I know more. Sorry, I was just trying to remember everything. It's incredibly hard when there's so much going on, but I hope I explained it all correct. Well, not correctly, as best I could to you all. But that's the update so far.